you know, we all have things that we lean towards a bit more than others. But I just wanted to add to what you were saying. I think it has a lot to do with this whole thing that empty buckets make the most noise. Mm-hmm. You see people who are loud and outlandish, always have something to say, always trying to show off, always. Most of them are trying to hide an inner. Yeah. There's something in there that's missing that they're trying to cover up because they don't want. So I can appreciate you wanting to get to know that person who's sitting there, reserved in their thoughts, quietly confident, not trying to be loud about who they are. Or I do appreciate that. I just want to go quickly over talk to Manny quickly, because could you just highlight some of the things that people listed? Because I think you sent me a long list of some of the things that people found unattractive. Like, could you just give us just a couple?
Okay. I think there's stuff like rudeness. Because, like, as a kid, well, as a teenager, see someone that's rude, you don't want to be around them because they can, like, get you into trouble or they could lead you down the wrong path. And there's two sides of it. You have, like, the physical side and, like, inside. Physical side for stuff like big noses, which it's not really a good thing to say, like, you won't like someone if they have a big nose, because it sounds really superficial. But then on the other hand, I guess if you look at it like down the future, if you get together with that person, then you have kids, your kid could turn out big nose.
You mean your parents already thinking about getting together with people and having kids already?
Yes, they are.
That's another edition of Royaume. Okay.
You know what? As human beings, we do tend to lean towards what is aesthetically pleasing. So I can understand people wanting to be around people that they perceive to be attractive. You're not going to deliberately seek out something that you perceive to be unattractive. So we do tend to do that. And saying that, what you're saying about people talking about, well, if they get together with this person, they've got a big nose, then their child may have a big nose or something. You hear these things all the time. A friend of mine, well, we were friends years ago, we used to work together. She's white British, she's in a relationship, she's now married to a black man. And the first time that she met his mother, the mother said, I would have preferred it if she was black, but at least she's not dark, you'll have nice children.
Do you know what? I do have a friend who's really close to me. I remember when we were growing up, she always used to say, she's black. She always, well, African. She always used to say she'd love to get married to a white guy because then her kids would have beautiful curly hair. So, I hear that a lot. Well, this whole issue then brings us to this thing about love at first sight. I just want to touch on that briefly, because even though it's linked, it's not quite linked.
Before we go on that, I know we've been talking about what you find unpleasant on people, but then I think, as much as you said, we would like to be around people who are pleasant, and you made a reference. If someone's rude or something, you want to go close to that person, but then, especially in this country, people have so many issues that if someone's behaving in a loud manner or a rude manner, it doesn't mean that person's a bad person. That person probably, a lot of people, they tend to do this as a cry for help. So they probably are, they've been broken due to certain circumstances. They've got so much beauty in them, but just because, probably circumstances or situation has actually made them a certain way. I think we tend to see people and probably just put a mark on them, which I don't necessarily agree with. And
I think again it has a lot to do with what you said with age, because with growing up as well, I am trying to be a bit more open and to widen my ideas on certain things a bit more in people. I mean, there are people that I affiliate with and talk to at the moment that I know for a fact that 5, 6, 7 years ago I've been thinking, are you for real? But that has come with, because I've just put myself in a position where I thought, you know what, you can't keep putting people in boxes. Everybody has a story. The other time I was saying on Facebook that I really wish I had the time to read the Desiderata every single day And there's a phrase in there that goes, even the dull and the ignorant, they too have their story. Everybody has something to say. And like I said earlier, we all have something beautiful in us innately. It's just that like attracts like. I want to be around somebody who understands me and who I can share something positive with.
But what are you giving to someone else who hasn't got that? Again, if you have something positive and you think someone is so negative, what about what you can give to that person? I mean, out of my experience, I have different people, for some reason, even if I was married or had kids, people who are older than me would come up to me and just ask for my advice. At one point in time, I actually thought I was a counsellor. People who are married ask me advices on their kids, and I'm thinking, why me? I haven't even got a child of my own or even a pet. But I mean, one thing I've realised is, as much I'm a very positive person, and there's so many different people who need help, and as much as you say like to like, fantastic. It's good, it's good to be among, it's always good to rub off, be in that kind of circle where you're feeling of positiveness. But what about the people who probably don't have that opportunity, who probably don't have friends, probably there's certain kind of neighbourhood that they grew up in, they don't have that kind of circle where they can get that positiveness, not because they wish or they choose to do that,
it's just
but
situations
the
they find themselves
opportunity
in.
has never been there. So what about you giving to them?
Do you know, I can understand that. However, I do find myself in positions where I have willingly wanted to give. I could, from the top of my head, I can think about at least 3 situations. Not to say I'm perfect, but situations where I found myself in a position where I really wanted to have a word with a friend. But when people put up a barrier and they have this approach, they know it all, they know what they want, they don't care what you have to say. Sometimes, as much as you appreciate that they may have a problem, it's really hard to break through that. And I'm thinking, is it worth pull up? I mean, people can need help, but they need to want the help as well.
We've got choices.
Yeah.
And the basis of my company and what I do is reciprocity, helping myself whilst I'm helping other people. And this is going to sound really selfish, but I'm not going to help you to the detriment of me. And I understand totally what you're saying about people whose circumstances have put them in certain positions. But I don't know, I haven't seen the movie Sliding Doors, I've only seen adverts. But literally, 1 second can totally change your life, and we've all got choices. Had I made different choices, my life could have been so different, it could have been so much better, it could have been so much worse. And I'm very much for assisting other people and helping other people, which is a big part of what I do, but we all have choices, and there are some people who, for whatever reason, firmly believe that that is all their lot is going to be and that is it, and no matter how much you try and help them, they're not going to advance past that place. And there has to come a point where you accept that and you keep it moving to somebody else that will make the opportunity. Which is why my charity,
how much effort do you put in though?
Which is why my charity,
2 or 3 times and then you stop?
I'm a social worker. I help people all day, every day. And there are some people that I assist and I assist and I assist, and to a point where it's enough. We do have to remove the child. There's no more help that I can put in. There's no more parenting classes that we can put you forward for. There's no much more advice I can give you. There's no more support that I can give you. And the thing is, we have to remember time. I've got a whole life that I'm living. I haven't got the time to be giving you 5 opportunities to do something. And the time that I'm taking to give you 5 opportunities to do something, there's somebody else that'll give 1, 2, 3 opportunities, and they will grasp that and they will run with it. And I would prefer to focus my efforts on somebody who is actually going to be able to do something, and perhaps that person, because they have come from that environment or that circumstance, will actually be able to affect the person who wasn't actually accepting the help or didn't think that they were worthy of the help. You've got to use your time constructively, and I cannot spend 10 years on a project that is not going to come to anything when I can spend 1 year on a project that's actually going to give somebody the tools to make themselves better and make their community better, which is why with my school scholarships, the school scholarships go to girls who actually do have the academic ability rather than anybody, because I know that those girls will actually have a bigger impact on their society as a whole than helping the children who unfortunately don't have that academic ability.
You don't.
No. I perfectly understand where you're coming from. But then how I see it, okay, say you take okay, your case studies Andy, and you've been trying on Andy, you've given him 3-4 chances, and you've said, okay, you know what, I give up on Andy, let me go to Mary. Mary, with 2 efforts, Mary can get where she needs to be. Okay, if everyone has the attitude like you, who would ever help Andy? Andy's a human being, and every human being can change. What he can change?
But what if Andy doesn't want? Andy doesn't want to change?
No, sometimes some people just need a little bit more help than the
But
other.
yeah, I understand that, but there are 24 hours in one day. Why am I going to take those 24 hours and invest it? Life is like that. There's always going to be people who are better than you. There are always going to be people that are worse off than you.
Exactly.
Why am I going to take my time and focus on somebody who's not going to be able to utilise the tools that they've been given?
I think I honestly can see where you both are coming from. I do, but I just personally feel that there is only so much you could do to help someone, and there has to come a point where you do have to draw the line, because you have to be ready to help yourself. There is no point in trying to help somebody if they're not interested in getting that help. But I'm glad we brought that up, because it's given me an idea for something else that I need to work on. But I need to stir this on. Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually diverting to welfare.
Exactly.
I wanted to briefly mention the idea of love at first sight, because that links to what I want to talk about afterwards. Do you, sort of quick around the table, do you believe in it? Do you think it's possible to actually love someone at first sight?
Attraction at first sight, yeah. I'm not too sure about love. Yeah, attraction, love.
I'll never say never. Maybe a few years ago I might have said yes, and maybe in a few years to come I'll say yes. But right now, I think that instant feeling, that instant magnetic pull is lust, not love.
I think I agree with you. I've always said it's possible to be attracted to someone at first sight. But again, I always say to love me is to know me. You need to get to know me.
Good, bad, ugly, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In all, because I'm not perfect. I keep saying that I'm not perfect. The things about me that you may not like, but loving me is finding those imperfections and being prepared to accept them as part of me. Now, the reason why I wanted to mention that is because aside from love at first sight, there are so many different routes that people go through, so many things people go through when trying to attract a partner, and this whole issue of beauty is relevant because right now I'm thinking about people who try to make themselves change, to alter their appearances in order to conform to what they believe other people classify as being beautiful. I'm just going to go through a list of things here. Recently, we've had in the news about Claudia Aderotimi, who she's a wannabe hip-hop star. She was interested in becoming a hip-hop star, and the media has sort of blamed Nicki Minaj. Well, not blamed her, but they've mentioned Nicki Minaj as a possible reason why a lot of these young girls are going into some of these, finding themselves in some of these situations. Before then, there was the former Miss Argentina. She also passed away after a butt implant operation. And then there was Cara from the German Big Brother, who died after her 6th breast enlargement operation. All these things made the headlines, but I am certain, as we can see from Claudia's situations, I'm sure there are a lot of other people who find themselves in these situations where they feel the need to alter their appearance. I mean, there's surgery, but then there are also things like skin lightening. There are a host of things that you could think of. I just want to go around and find out, why do we think that people do these things, and is it really worth it to put yourself in a position where you're compromising your health in order to conform your life in these cases, obviously, in order to conform to what society tells us is beautiful? I mean, who dictates what's beautiful? What's your view?